Nice work, fellas. Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me here.
Genuinely, I'm a huge fan of yours. For people who might not be familiar with you just yet, how would you explain the way you place yourself? What do you consider what you do? How do you describe it?
Just something to do.
Well, you could give it the big sell if you want. I mean, that's fine.
I go around with a camera and just show people what I see and try and find the truth and then, you know, go back home, have a beer.
Doesn't sound as hard as I thought it was, I must admit.
Well, that's why I do it.
Let's have a look. There's a new movie that Michael has, which is coming out in this country, I think, next week.
Yes.
It's called Bowling for Columbine.
Yes.
OK, we're going to have a look at a clip at it. First of all, will you set up what happens here? This is early in the movie, isn't it?
Yes, this is in near where I live in Michigan, and I opened up the paper one day and saw an ad for a bank, and I thought it kind of curious, but very American. So I went to the bank to open up an account.
Let's have a look at this.
I'd spotted an ad in the local Michigan paper that said if you opened an account at North Country Bank, the bank would give you a gun.
We have a whole brochure here that you can look at. Mm-hmm. Once we do the background check and everything, it's yours to go.
Okay. All right, well, that's the account I'd like to open.
We have to do a background check.
At the bank here, or?
At the bank, which we are a licensed firearm dealer.
What does that mean? Have I ever been adjudicated mentally defective?
Would be something involved with a crime.
Oh, with a crime. Okay, so if I'm just normally mentally defective,
yeah,
but not criminal.
There you go, Mike.
Okay, thank you very much. Wow.
It's a straight shooter, let me tell you.
Wow. Sweet. Well, here's my first question. Do you think it's a little dangerous handing out guns in a bank?
It's a tremendously funny film, but it's also a strange, you know, it's a very moving film, and it's quite a frightening film because what you're looking at is a terrifying subject matter in America. It's kind of like rampant gun use, gun ownership. And one of the points you make in the movie that particularly hit home with me was that here you have a culture which has an awful lot of weapons. Your neighbours to the north in Canada, they have, you know, a similar number per person. Nowhere near the incident of violent gun-related crimes or killings. What's the difference there? Why is it so different?
Well, I think it's because the Canadians have learned how to behave well with each other, and we haven't as Americans. We believe it's every man for himself. You know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know, me, and I think that leads to this attitude that it's okay to reach for the gun whenever you have to resolve a dispute, whether it's personally with your neighbor or someone in your family. Or whether it's with Saddam Hussein. It's let's just go bomb him first and we'll find out later if he's got any weapons.
Does it frighten you what's happening in your country?
Of course. Doesn't it frighten you?
It terrifies me.
The whole world should just be... I mean, here's a guy in the White House who wants to bomb a country he can't find on the map.
But, you know, we're kind of laughing at it, and I know some people have criticised...
We're only laughing because we don't want to cry.
Yeah, but people have criticised you and said that sometimes you find humour in situations in which there should be none. Like in the movie...
Who are these people?
Those guys there. They said it to me earlier. But people have said, you know, in Bowling for Columbine, because there's some footage in the middle of that film which is just some of the most starkly horrific footage I've ever seen in my life. You actually say, if you remember what happened at the high school in Columbine, where some kids, one morning, after going bowling, they cut loose with weapons, basically hunting weapons,
right.
I believe.
They didn't want to miss their first hour class in school, which was their bowling class. They actually get high school credit for going bowling at 7 in the morning. And then they went on to participate in that other all-American sport, picking up the guns.
But now, how do you answer critics who say, well, you know, you shouldn't be doing anything amusing near that subject matter? What do you say to those sort of people?
I think it's important to go in my films, to those places that are uncomfortable and painful, and through humor, try and find the truth. And that's what I do in this film, and that's what I've done actually since you guys let me on the air here first, back in '93, '94, when I had my show on the BBC, TV Nation, and because of that, I was allowed to do it in America.
Well, we have another clip to look at. This is from another TV show you did that was on over here, The Awful Truth.
The Awful Truth.
It's once again, it kind of, I think, very aptly illustrates what you just said. It's an awful subject matter, and yet it's terribly funny. Would you set this clip up for us?
It was Christmas time. And Philip Morris is the largest tobacco company in the world, biggest cigarette maker. And I thought, you know, being Christmas time, because I'm known for the guy who always goes after the corporate guys, making their lives miserable. You know, it's Christmas, let's put it away, Mike, and do something nice in the spirit of the season. And so I took a group of senior citizens who had lost their larynxes, their voice boxes, due to secondhand smoke that they've been breathing in their homes for all their lives.
Okay, let's have a look how it went.
I gathered up a few friends and set out to spread some holiday cheer where it was needed most.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. 'Tis the season to be jolly.
Our voice box choir had really struck a chord at Philip Morris.
That was beautiful.
People are kind of slightly unsure how to take it because, of course, it's funny, but then you realise the grim and gruesome truth behind it is the fact that these guys have suffered terribly.
And not only that, by now they're all dead. All the people in that clip. Yeah.
Do you think there's a reluctance sometimes for people to accept what you're saying as the truth because it just seems so apparently, openly wrong and grotesque and awful? For example, in your book, you point out, Michael has a book out at the moment, Stupid White Men, that I believe there's a chapter which looks at the kind of connections between people holding very high office in the United States government right now and their corporate benefactors throughout the election and even up to the present day, I believe.
Yes.
And when you read it, you cannot believe that these are the people running the country who are so clearly in the pocket of big business.
Absolutely. There's at least almost a dozen people in Bush's cabinet and the people in the White House that are former corporate chairmen. They ran large American corporations, and now they're there running the United States as if it is a corporation.
It's a terrific book. It's very funny and somewhat depressing, but in a good way, I think.
Yeah,
Stupid White Men
depression,
is the name of the book. And you are also on for a period between now and up to Christmas at the Roundhouse here in London.
Yeah, I'm doing a live show at the Roundhouse for the next month or so, where I'm going to, do a lot of my thing, and we're also going to each night try to catch